Okay, I'm live. Thanks, Jenny, for helping out with that. Hi, everybody. My name's Emily Weusi, and I own Weusi Wellness Cafe. You can see it on the screen over there. That's fun. But I wanted to say thank you first to Corinna for having me on here today and for thinking of me. I'm really excited this morning to do a healthy recipe with you guys. We're going to be doing a almond butter cup smoothie. So kind of like a peanut butter cup, like a Reese's flavor, but with almond butter. It's actually one of my favorites. And then we're also going to be doing some oatmeal. It's cold right now, which is awesome. I woke up to a cold house and had to turn the heat on. So oatmeal is one of those breakfasts that are super delicious anytime, but I feel like very comforting in the wintertime. So we're going to do that. I already have the milk going. I'm going to go ahead and turn it up so that it'll start boiling while we talk a little bit. And then while the oatmeal's cooking, we're going to work on the smoothie. So welcome to my home kitchen. I told my husband doing these live cooking demos and shows and classes make me want to remodel my kitchen. It's a good excuse to. So that's what I'm saving up for. But you can pretty much see everything. But I'm going to come over here with my almond milk. So I have unsweetened almond milk on my stove. And I'm just going to turn it up. I already had it on low. So I'm turning it up so that it'll start boiling. While it's boiling, I'll then dump in my old-fashioned oats. And so right now we have 1 3/4 cup on the stove. And we're going to add 1 cup of oats. These are old-fashioned oats. So if you eat oatmeal a lot, there's a few different ways you can make it. There's the 1-minute oats. Usually those come in packets too. Be careful with those because they have a lot of added sugar. So be sure to look at that. They also have those in the tubs like these. And then these are the next level up, I would say, old-fashioned oats. They're like rolled oats also is something they're called. But they're flat, like, I don't know, they're flat. And these are great as well, but I would say the most premium oats you can get that are the most complex, which is what you want if you're eating healthy, is going to be the steel cut oatmeal. You have to boil it and cook it just like we're doing on the stove with this one. But that one is harder for your body to break down, which is good because you burn more calories where you're breaking down the food and it gives you longer sustained energy. It's going to be less likely to spike your insulin levels, your blood sugar. So we're going to go ahead and get this on the stove. It's boiling. And I just poured those oats in. I use a wooden spoon. So one like this. This is what I like to use with my oats. And I'm just stirring it in. And then I'm turning it down to low for, I believe, 5 minutes. So I'm going to set a timer. And I know a lot of you guys probably aren't cooking right now that are watching, but during our live virtual cooking classes that I host every Sunday from 1 to 3 p.m., this is kind of how it goes. I'm on Zoom, and our last class we had about 6 people, and so we're all cooking at the same time, prepping at the same time. I provide the grocery list, and it tells you exactly what aisle to go on, or you can do curbside. But that's something that I'm doing a lot of, and I'm really going to push in the new year because I really enjoy doing these live cooking demos with you guys. So while our oats are cooking, I got my timer set, so I'm not going to forget. We're going to start working on our smoothie. So I have just an ice cube tray at home. So if you have ice at home, get some ice, and you're going to want to fill up. I have a Ninja blender. I'll spin over here. So right here, this little guy, which is great. You can get it at Sam's or at H-E-B for like under $100, but I would say it's worth it. But this is what I use at home. I also use those at the cafe. They're great for single portion smoothies. If you're making like a big or multiple smoothies, then I would say get a big blender. But if you're just making one for you in the morning, these are a lot easier to clean. and they're cheaper to replace, is what I've found. So fill up your cup with ice. I would say this is like probably a medium size. If you wanted smaller, you could go down. Just kind of depends on how much you want in the morning. So fill up your cup with ice. I would say 3/4 of the height that you want. And then 1/4 of the cup, you want to do frozen bananas. So you can get frozen bananas at H-E-B, or you can cut them yourself. That's what we do at the cafe. And then you just freeze them in Ziploc bags. One tip, if you do freeze your own bananas, is to lay them flat and don't let them like squish down in the freezer. Otherwise it turns into a big block. So you have to kind of have a technique when you freeze your bananas, even though that sounds kind of strange. Okay, so we got that. I'm going to check on our oats. They are bubbling over there. So I'm going to turn the heat down a little bit and stir them. And they're looking really good. So you want the oats to be kind of sticky and soft. And so while those are cooking, we still have a few more minutes, about 2 more minutes, my timer says. You add almond milk. So this is the almond milk that I use, unsweetened vanilla. We use this for everything. There's no sugar in it, and it's just a good base milk for anything that you're making that is sweet. If you're not making something sweet, I wouldn't use the vanilla. I would use the unsweetened original. But be careful with plant milks because there are a lot of them that are sweetened and have a bunch of like syrup and sugar in them. So you always want to get the unsweetened. It doesn't taste as good, obviously, but if you're making smoothies, it's already going to be sweet. And so you don't really need that extra sugar. And so that's just my little tip there. So fill this up just to the top of the fruit and you're good. That's how we measure our milk. You want to fill it up just to the top or just under, and that's like the perfect amount of milk. And then since we're doing the almond butter cup, if you wanted to do a peanut butter cup, you would do the same recipe but with peanut butter. But I'm using some almond butter from H-E-B, and we're just gonna do, I like to do 2 tablespoons, so like 2 heaping scoops of almond butter or peanut butter, whichever you prefer. And sometimes it's easier to like get a knife or something and kind of scrape it off the spoon. And I have some music on too. So when you cook, I always recommend to put some music on, kind of get in the zone. Let it be something that is therapeutic and relaxing. Especially in the morning, you want to have a good mindset, good attitude as you're getting ready for the day. And I'm speaking to myself. I will say this cold weather kind of makes me want to stay home and do not a lot of things. But definitely getting that breakfast in the morning is going to help you wake up. Coffee, adding coffee to this is so delicious. I was going to make a shot of espresso. Oh, our oatmeal is done. We'll take it off the stove. But what I was saying is this is great if you want to add a little bit of coffee in at this point. If you do, just put less milk. That way it's not too watery. But yeah, so you could put coffee or espresso. I have a espresso machine. It's like $30 on Amazon actually, but it's one that you can make just a small pot and add it in. So that would be great if you're trying to get your coffee in and your breakfast at the same time. Okay, so we got our almond butter in here. Now we need to add our protein. We also need to turn our oats off, so I'm going to go ahead and turn mine off. They look delicious. If you wanted some extra fat calories in your oatmeal, you could add in ghee butter or you could add in coconut oil. That's going to help curb your cravings longer. So getting a little bit more healthy fat. We are going to put almond butter in it, so you're going to get some fats, but just know if you are doing a diet where you want a little bit more fat in the morning, then you could add that to your oatmeal now. So this is the protein that we use. Oop, learning how to do this on the camera. This is the protein we use at the cafe. It is Onnit. You can see the name right here. So Onnit is a high quality supplement company based out of Austin, Texas. We used to be pretty good friends with the owner. We've both gotten pretty busy, but the guy's a great guy. Aubrey Marcus, he really cares about the ingredients in their supplements. So that's why we use them. And they're kind of local since it's Austin. And we know the guy. So why not support other people that you know? So we put 1 scoop of that. It's actually Mexican chocolate flavored. This is our whey protein. So it's dairy based. It's a grass fed whey. So the cows were grass fed. But we also have plant-based protein. I was told by a vegan last week that we are the only place in town that has plant-based protein. I don't know if that's true, but she said she called everywhere and we were the only ones. So if you need plant-based protein smoothies, come over to us or make them at home. Alrighty, so we got our smoothie. I'm just trying to screw on the lid. This can be kind of tricky sometimes. But we got it screwed down. You want to make sure it's screwed on pretty tight. And then I have this little swivel thing, which is cool. This is our Ninja smoothie maker. I actually was going to mute it so you guys don't have to hear the blender. Let's see. These blenders work really good, actually. And then, yeah, so that's it. I have a straw here, and you can either transfer it into another cup or just drink it out of the blender cup, which is pretty cool. But yeah, this is our almond butter cup. It's so good. So I want to explain what it kind of tastes like to you guys. It is thick, like a milkshake. That's kind of the consistency. And trust me, it's a science. We had to figure out how much of each ingredient to put to get that consistency, because it can be too watery or it can be too thick and it won't blend. So this is the perfect amount. So it's the same consistency as a milkshake. It has ice in it, which I really love because it's kind of crunchy, like little bitty crunchies. And then it's thick because of the almond butter. So it's kind of like, it kind of feels like it's ice cream, guys. So like a milkshake ice cream, which I love. And then the almond butter kind of gives it like a cookie taste. And the Mexican chocolate has cinnamon in it, the protein powder. So it just has a lot of flavor. It's really good. And I'm telling you guys, if you add coffee or espresso, like it is just another level delicious. And this would be great in the mornings. In the evenings, if you are a late night, like sugar tooth type person, I don't know if this was correct, but if you have a sugar tooth and you tend to eat a lot of sweets at night, I would say doing a smaller, maybe like half this size smoothie, like pretending like it's ice cream because it tastes like ice cream. That would be a good replacement for you. This is a meal replacement shake that we just made for breakfast. And you could have it for lunch. Sometimes when I'm stressed and my stomach's kind of upset, I'll just get a smoothie down because it's just easy. I know I'm getting in a healthy fat, some fruit, some ice, which is water, some almond milk, like all kinds of good stuff, protein. So if you're in a hurry, this is a great choice. We make this smoothie at the cafe as well. So if you're in a hurry and you don't have time to make it on your own, you can stop by. We make small, mediums, and larges, and you can get the espresso added in there. Call ahead if you're in a hurry, and we'll have it ready for you. But next, I'm going to go ahead and get started on our oatmeal. We are about halfway done, which is awesome. Pulling it off the stove here. So that's what it looks like. Thick. If you get the still cut oats, they look more kind of like porridge or grits. But again, these are better, the old fashioned or the still cut versus the quick oats, just because again, it's less processed. It's harder for your body to break down. Whoa, my pot's dirty. Don't laugh at me, guys. Let's see. All right, so I made about 2 servings, honestly. And since we are having a shake, you could go lighter on the oatmeal. But the good thing is if you make a little bit too much, then you just basically meal prepped for yourself for tomorrow. So you can always package it at the same time. That's what I would recommend. And we'll do that here too. That way y'all can see. So I'm going to make one to eat today right now, and then I'm going to make one for me to eat tomorrow in the morning. And that's, if you don't meal prep, I'm sure most people by now know what the idea or concept of meal prepping is. But that's what it is. You're just making a little bit extra for yourself so that you don't have to cook again throughout the week. So it's definitely helpful. So the oats are great because they're going to give you energy throughout the day. Long-lasting fuel. You'll notice if you eat oatmeal in the morning, you will stay full longer, and you'll have more energy. So what we're going to do next, we have 2 bowls here. I'm going to go ahead and put our almond butter on. So again, using the same almond butter. There's a few different kinds at H-E-B. They just came out with their own brand, like this last, I don't know, 6 months maybe. But your oats should be hot enough to where when you put it on top, it melts a little bit. If it doesn't, you could warm it up for a little bit longer. I like a lot of almond butter. Not everyone wants that much, so it's up to you here. I would say don't exceed 2 tablespoons, so just 1 to 2. I'm gonna put mine in the microwave really quick just to warm up that butter. So 30 seconds. This is our logo, guys, too. We're on Hunter Road where the big 10-foot green dinosaur is. I don't know how much I talked about that. While that's warming up, I'll let you guys know a little bit about me. I grew up in Texas, went to Texas State. My husband also went to Texas State, so we're alumni. And we stayed, my husband that I'm married to now, when I met him, he actually already had a business. He had a small gym on the square. And I was really fascinated that he got to just help people all day and boost their confidence and help them to achieve their fitness goals and their life goals. So when I saw what he was doing, I came in. My degree was actually in marketing and design and graphic design. So, but I dove into fitness and health. So I really love it. And I've been doing meal prep now for myself or for other people for about 7 years. And we've had our gym open for 10 years, and I've had the meal prep cafe open now for 2 years. So the main thing though that I'm focusing on are these virtual cooking classes. So love this. All right, so our butter is melted. It looks like we have about less than 10 minutes now. So I just put the butter right in the middle, and then I have a banana, fresh banana. Dice that thing up. So I have it sliced up here. Show you guys my food. And then you want to just get creative and make it pretty for yourself, right? Why not? Why not get a little creative, make a happy face, whatever you want to do to help make your day start off a little bit better. So put my bananas there. This is the part where you can get real creative and, you know, do toppings. These are the ones I usually do. A little bit of honey and some cinnamon. And then we also have raisins. You could do blueberries, anything like that. to add to the toppings. I was just reading the notes. All right, so our oatmeal is pretty much complete. This is how I like mine. Normally I would add some blueberries, but I don't have any. But again, you can do raisins. At the cafe, we put goji berries, which are really good. But yeah, so you have your almond butter cup, your oatmeal bowl, and I'm even gonna finish up by making myself another one for me to enjoy tomorrow. Thank you guys so much for having me. I think my time's almost up. I did want to talk about the holidays. So again, those virtual meal prep classes, it's live like this on Zoom. It's a class of people, so you get a community aspect to where you get to meet other people in the community. You can also invite people who don't live near you and do the cooking class together, which is kind of like a bonding thing. But 1 to 3 on Sundays. So it's only going to take 2 hours. We make 10 meals and I send you 2 recipes. I give you a grocery list, tells you exactly where to go get it. And those are typically $40 a class. For Christmas, we're doing a promo and we're going to be doing $50 off when you buy 4. So it drops it down to about $100 and you'll get to go to 4 different cooking classes, which equates to 40 meals that you cook for yourself, but you learn how to do it and you have fun while you do it. So we had great feedback from our last ones. What else? Coming up, the holidays. We got Thanksgiving. We have Christmas. I just want to encourage you guys to get creative, make those dishes delicious but nutritious. Try to do fresh ingredients. We love to try to spin any recipe and make it a little bit healthier. So I hope that you guys have a wonderful holiday season. I hope that you'll take advantage. Like I said, those virtual meal prep classes are great stocking stuffers or just gifts for anybody who is wanting to learn how to cook healthy and enjoy themselves while doing it. All right. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and jump off. Thank you so much, Corinna and Jenny. And I hope you guys enjoy your oatmeal and your almond butter cup whenever you have a chance to make it. Until next time, we're located on 2626 Hunter Road, where the big dinosaur is, across from San Marcos Barbecue. We have a cafe, smoothies, breakfast, lunch, meal prep, meal plans. We have a health coach on site. We're hiring a registered dietitian. And then we have the meal prep classes online. My husband has the fitness side, so we are just trying to be a one-stop shop for you guys. All right, well, y'all have a great day, and I hope to see everybody soon.
Thanks for that, Emily. And let's remember, breakfast is usually the most important meal of the day. Good morning, entrepreneurs and supporters of entrepreneurs. We will be beginning our program in about 5 minutes. So we urge you to get comfortable and we'll get started shortly with our day, Total Health for Entrepreneurs. We have a scavenger hunt all week, and one of today's requirements is that you introduce yourself in the chat. Do this before we log off to qualify for prizes at the week's end. Good morning and welcome to San Marcos, Texas, heart of the innovation corridor and home to a growing number of entrepreneurs. It is no wonder that we are bringing you the collective wisdom of speakers and panels for the next 4 days covering the total health of entrepreneurs. On day one today, we will hear from a number of professionals who will elaborate on the unique strengths of the region's ecosystem that make this an ideal environment for the entrepreneur. Additionally, we will bring you resources to build business fitness over the next few days. Day two is coined Get Body Fit and will address the physical wellness. Day three will explore Get Mentally Fit and mental wellness. And our final day will go over Get Business Fit and resources to ensure your business is on the right track to meet its full potential. My name is Ted Groholske, and I will be your host over the next 2 days. I'm a business solutions consultant with Workforce Solutions, rural capital area, serving the 3 counties, Hayes, Caldwell, and Blanco counties. We work with area employers with their employment needs. We are pleased to be able to lead off this week with Dr. Shannon Weigum, a scholar, researcher, and professor from Texas State University. Dr. Weigum is faculty within the Material Science, Engineering, and Commercialization program. She has been assigned as director of the new Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship at Texas State. Because of her exclusive experience with startups, let us welcome Dr. Shannon Weigum. Good morning, Doctor. I'm sorry, we can't hear you.
Apologies, can you hear me now?
We can now, thank you.
Hi, Ted, how are you doing?
Doing good, thank you.
Really appreciate the opportunity to be here with you today and participating in on Global Entrepreneurship Week. As you mentioned, I've recently been appointed as the co-director of Texas State University's new Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship. And while the center's is new, it builds upon many of the innovation and entrepreneurial programs and curriculum that have been developed and delivered by our amazing faculty for many years. Really now, as part of the CIE, we get to connect and collaborate with those programs and develop strategies to grow opportunities for our university community. And I'm happy to be here today to share with you just a few insights on what we're currently doing. At our core, the Texas State Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship serves as a nexus of connectivity to provide opportunities and support our entire university community, which includes students, faculty, staff, alumni, and external partners, with the critical skills, experiences, mindset, and other resources that they need to truly transform our world by bringing new ideas to life and equipping the next generation of innovators and entrepreneurs. The Texas State CIE fills the need to embrace and empower innovative leadership and education models to address our ever-changing world. Factors driving this change include the increasing shift to global markets where decisions are inherently more complex and need fresh thinking. Markets are also changing as new forms of problems and issues arise, like healthcare, energy, and commerce, that need diverse perspectives and creative innovation. Universities must also maximize their value to students, alumni, and businesses by engaging these constituents to create new opportunities, and for students, the growing awareness of the need to be better equipped for the working world. Our strategy creates connections between business, government, faculty, and students to find and solve real-world problems. We develop and deliver unique content that generates a diversity of perspectives and enhances value for everyone. We support innovation by ensuring access to the tools and resources for creating, incubating, accelerating new ideas. We truly are a leading force in defining the educational models of the future, the workforce of the future, and the markets of the future. Our approach focuses on collaboration and strengthening connections among the existing programs at Texas State while using this strategic framework to drive the development of new programs and entrepreneurial curriculum that is accessible across all colleges at the university, not just the College of Business. A few of these new initiatives include an Entrepreneurial Foundations series of co-curricular programs that foster an entrepreneurial mindset and experience-based learning. We've called these programs Ignite, Deep Dive, Boost, and even following up with a potential accelerator program. These form the foundations of entrepreneurial learning through an experiential model and a focus on the mindset. We've also identified the need for some structured mentorship networks that increase access to experienced and diverse subject matter experts, innovators, entrepreneurs, and business leaders such as yourself. Third of our key initiatives include the formation of a physical space, which we've called the Idea Lab, where innovation, discovery, entrepreneurship, and acceleration can happen. This space will house our Genius Bar for innovators and entrepreneurs in residence to meet with students and provide external guidance that they so desperately need. We will also create a digital credentialing system and skills-based entrepreneurship certificate programs for students, the local regional community, and even executive or career development. Together, the existing programs and our new initiatives of CIE enables us to truly unlock opportunities from early ideation to business model development, prototyping, testing, and ultimately launch. This is certainly a nonlinear pathway, and through these co-curricular programs, we've built customized pathways with multiple on and off ramps, depending upon a person's interest and motivation. This slide shows just a brief glimpse of some of the co-curricular programs that we support at Texas State. For example, Bobcat Startup is a living learning community for freshmen at Texas State where students live in the same dorm, attend common classes as a cohort, and participate in activities designed to inspire and introduce them to an entrepreneurial mindset and the value that it provides across all disciplines and in any business setting. Co-Search is a unique model for building teams to explore emerging research questions and discover new approaches and models for learning. South by Southwest Innovation Lab, sorry, for short South by, Innovation Lab and other programs like the Microsoft Pitch Off are where faculty and student teams can demonstrate the functionality, marketability of their particular ideas. And further to the right of this diagram, we have launch activities, including things like our new ventures competition, which is open to outside teams and supports early stage startups through cash prizes, shared laboratory space, and access to our innovators and entrepreneurs in residence as mentors. I'll also give a shout out to Star Park, which you'll hear more about in just a little while from Steve Frazier, the executive director at Star Park, which serves as the university's research park and startup incubator. The CIE serves a variety of constituents and builds a community of leaders that are poised for change and growth, including prospective students, current students, faculty, alumni, and employers who all gain from their involvement with CIE initiatives. For outside business and employers, CIE can support collaborations to solve problems that matter to your business, for example, by organizing hackathons, or providing access and training on advanced prototyping equipment. In addition, we can open up a new talent pool for employers to access Texas State students who are known for their work ethic, their determination, and their grit. Together, the organization and efforts of the CIE provides a unique lens to enhance visibility from the outside looking in, for which to be able to view university research, innovations, and our community, who are really leading change that will have lasting and profound impacts. We will form new partnerships to drive experiential learning, social and scientific models of collaboration that embrace disruption and form diverse, lasting perspectives. We will engage with employers who are transforming the market landscape with innovation, and we will create new entrepreneurs founding and growing new ventures. We will ensure that students are building lifelong skill sets, resumes, and connections that they need to be successful in our ever-changing world. Thank you so much for the invitation and the time today. I will be happy to answer any questions, and please feel free to reach out to me if you are interested in learning more. My contact information is here, along with a link to our website at www.innovation.txstate.edu. Thank you and appreciate the time. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Dr. Weigum, your message is an exciting one. It paints a picture of this region as a dynamic place to start a business. We are fortunate to have Dr. Weigum stay with us, joined by TV and sports personality Fran Harris. Fran brings 30 years of entrepreneurial experience, starting with her journey from her first business as a snow cone entrepreneur at age 9. To where she is today as the CEO of a 20-year training and development company with Fortune 100 clients. She is a passionate believer in the possibility of the human spirit, an advocate for entrepreneurs, companies doing good and well, startups, and women who mean business. A former championship basketball star at Texas State, she inspires athletes of all ages. Fran Harris is a WNBA champion with the Houston Comets and former Procter & Gamble sales executive and a 21-year Fortune 100 speaker, trainer, coach, and consultant. Refuses to be a slave to the dollar bill, but instead helps companies play at a higher level by committing to epic levels of transparency, service, and appreciation for its customers and employees. Ladies, the virtual podium is yours. Each of you, please begin by starting out describing why you took a turn to establishing and supporting businesses, say, as opposed to being lawyers, nurses, or airline pilots.
I'm not sure where to start. I'm going to let you go first because that's a great question.
Well, I've already been talking for a little bit, but it's great to have you. It's great to see you, Fran, and thank you for the question. First and foremost, I would probably say I am a scientist and not a business person or an entrepreneur necessarily in my own right. My career has been shaped by research that I do, and in my research lab, we focus on the development of low-cost, point-of-care medical devices to detect and diagnose disease. These systems inherently have real-world applications, and it's been the drive to be able to see the things that we develop in the lab get into the hands of people where it'll truly change and save lives. So it's been that connection for taking the research and ensuring that there is a commercialization, a tech transfer, and a collaborative involvement with startup companies that can make and bring those things to life.
Yeah, for me, first of all, great to be here with everybody this morning. For me, it really was because I had numerous ideas. There's, if you've got 20 ideas in about 20 seconds and you're working for someone, it's kind of hard to maintain your survival. And that's really where I found myself working for a great company with Procter & Gamble as soon as I was, out of college at Texas. And then realized that if I were going to ever be able to exploit any of these ideas that I had, any of these innovations that I had to strike out on my own. And that's really, what it came down to. You mentioned the snow cone stand when I was 9. What most people don't know is that wasn't just because I was entrepreneurial. It was because my mother wouldn't buy me something and told me that I needed to actually figure out how to get the money myself. And thus an entrepreneur was born.
I love that. In terms of an entrepreneur being born, it's often out of need and a direct connection to that need. And the way to solve it is by, creating your own avenues and creating your own opportunities and being able to recognize those. I 100% agree and love that concept.
What's interesting about the idea of striking out on your own is that everybody thinks entrepreneurship is so glamorous and they think it's so amazing because they are focusing on the freedom that you have. And while that's absolutely amazing, there are a lot of twists and turns and, dark roads and highlights and lowlights that you have to go through and endure in order to ultimately get there. But I think what really drives a lot of the entrepreneurial spirit is the ultimate expression of freedom, whether that's financial freedom or whether that's just creative freedom. And for me, I wasn't driven so much in terms of the money early on. I was driven by the fact that I wouldn't have to be a slave to my alarm clock, that the ceiling for innovation and the ceiling for income and impact would become limitless. And I think that's very common and consistent with a lot of entrepreneurs.
The path is definitely a winding road. Can you tell me a little bit about one of those, what would you have liked to have known now that you, or then that you do know now?
I think entrepreneurship is sold as this ultimate, as I said, this ultimate freedom. What I would have liked to have known then was the value of having a great team around you, because there's a lot of isolation and loneliness that starts when you start a company, unless you start with a co-founder. A lot of entrepreneurs start by themselves in their garage, as you mentioned with Apple, one day in their car, just kind of thinking about needs in the marketplace. And so the value of a team, I didn't learn that until later. And to some degree wish that I had, when I started my consulting company after I left P&G, that I had a co-founder, because whether it's bouncing ideas off or just getting through some of the lean years and the tough times that you have, it's a lot easier to do that if someone's traveling on the journey with you. So the value of a team, highly recommend, whether it's your board or just a mastermind group. If you're a solo founder, get some folks around you because you will need that support.
You are a master at teams. Tell me a little bit about how do you pick the people you need and the ones that you want to be on your team?
That comes a lot from my basketball experience. I didn't actually start playing basketball until I was 15 years old in Dallas. And then I got the opportunity to be on a scholarship at the University of Texas. And one of the great things about my career is people always say, well, you were a superstar, you were this. Now, I always say I was always on great teams. I understood the importance of great teams, and that's specifically from playing from a championship team in high school, and then playing on a championship team at the University of Texas, and then playing on the championship team again in the WNBA. I clearly saw that it's a lot easier to elevate goals and to reach your dreams and to be very mission centered if you're surrounded by greatness. And so for me, during my athletic career, it was never the most important thing for me was never to be necessarily the best player on the team. Even when I was the best player on the team, what was important for me was to be surrounded by greatness every day, so that I had to be pushed beyond my limit, so that I couldn't rest on my laurels and become complacent. So when you're looking for choosing teammates, the first thing that comes to my mind is going to be values, is an alignment of values. And a lot of people talk about alignment these days. They talk about values, but getting those values to be aligned with the people that you're going to be in the trenches with every day is critical. You can like people, you can love people, but if your values are not aligned, if the things that matter most are not similar, it's going to be a very difficult partnership.
That's definitely really good advice. When I completely understand, when, especially in a startup, when you are together and working so hard, so closely,
yes.
That communication and that alignment is very critical. So tell me about what the current activities, and where do your ideas, where do you get inspired from?
I get inspired a lot from just seeing, from other people doing the thing, as we say in sports. You did the thing. I love watching entrepreneurs who are solving new problems. Remember the old adage, there's nothing new under the sun, right? Everybody goes, everything has been done. And we're seeing it really hasn't. There's a twist. There's a different way to do different things. Even if the invention or the innovation has been there for the past 100 years, there's always something new that you can do. So I'm always inspired by seeing great, people do great things. For me, this sounds interesting for most people because I've been an athlete most of my life, and I just started a beverage company that our first line of innovation are sports drinks. And so people usually go, why are you just now thinking about this? And it's really interesting because you look at the innovation in the sports drink category. And I started the company because of a need. I didn't see something that was low sugar, great tasting, higher functionality, better for you. If you think about how long the sports drink category has been in existence, there hasn't been a lot of innovation in that category for over 50 years. And it really came out of a need from me participating in a 5K, and someone handed me at the finish line, they handed me a sports drink, and I turned it around and I was like, what is this? Now, that's weird because I played sports all my life, right? And so I'm looking at that and I go, let's see if there's something there. So I was literally inspired by what I perceived to be missing in the marketplace. And I also believe that's true for a lot of entrepreneurs. It was missing. Is this something that I can add? Can I make a greater contribution to my community? And let's see what's there. And so we set out to start a company that was a better for you functional beverage company. And we're on a roll. We're entering our first year of business. And so far, so good.
Always great to celebrate accomplishments and cheer you on.
Yeah, small wins are very important. I'm a big proponent of celebrating very small victories. So, and there have been a lot of those during this pandemic.
Certainly. Can you also talk a little bit about being a woman and in a typically male-dominated world and fields, as well as some of the challenges that poses, and how you certainly have overcome them?
People tend to start thinking about the good old boys club, and does it still exist? Does a glass ceiling? Is it still there? And it absolutely is. But one of the things that we don't hear a lot of conversation about is the level of conditioning that surrounds women who are in male-dominated fields or in life and business in general. So part of the challenges of being in sports and sports casting and being in sales and now in sports drinks, sports beverages, which is a truly dominated, predominantly dominated by men, is that there's a lot of conditioning with men about whether they should respect women, whether they should listen to women when they're speaking. And that, for me, is the most challenging thing, the conditioning and the imprinting in the space. It's not about whether I believe women can do it or I can do it. It's extra stuff that you have to do just to be in the room and not strangle someone. Let's just be honest, because people are speaking over you, or they're dismissing your ideas, or they're deflecting, what the real issues are. There's a lot of extra stuff that women have to go through, regardless of the industry that they're in, that has nothing to do with their ability to really excel in the field. And for me, it has been the conditioning of both women and men in the space that's been the most challenging. I've never run up against a physical challenge, an intellectual challenge that I didn't feel up to par. It's all the extra stuff, all the potential, dismissiveness that you get, the potential lack of opportunities that are not there. Because I believe once women get in the room, they can hold their own.
Certainly, and also at the board table. I 100% agree. Since I come from a university point of view and a university perspective, were there any opportunities for you throughout your academic career to engage with entrepreneurial learning, or where do you think you got most of that training from? And what would you like to receive?
Yeah, so my dad started his own ceramic tile business when I was younger. And then my mother, a year or so before she died, started her own beauty salon. So there was entrepreneurship in my family. And I also always saw my older brothers going out with my dad, putting flyers on cars for his business. So the seed was planted. I don't think we talked about the word entrepreneurship. That wasn't discussed. It was doing whatever you needed to do to put food on the table, to put clothes on our backs. So that was the planting of the seed. And then my brother actually bought me a subscription to Black Enterprise magazine, which was the premier Black business magazine in the country, started in, I believe, the 70s. So that planted yet another seed. And then when I got to high school, I remember, this may not be entrepreneurship, but I think it tells you a little bit of something about me. When I got to middle school, I was bored in one of my classes, and me and my classmates started playing cards. And we started playing cards, and we started playing cards for money. Let's just be real. We were playing cards for cards. And, dollars or whatever. And I didn't come from a rich family. So my lunch money was all the money I had. But I started getting really intrigued by the strategic thinking and playing cards and the risk taking. And I remember I was playing with a friend, and the bell was about to ring, and she had a $13 lead on me. And I said, let's play one more. And she was like, the bell is about to ring. I was like, no, one more. Let's play one more. All or nothing. Now, let me tell you, I didn't have $13 more to give her. But I was so confident that I was going to win that game before the bell rung. And I said, do it. She goes, you owe me $13 already. I got it. So this will be $26. I got it. Don't worry about it. So we played this hand, and I won. I was like, victory! That tells you a lot about just my mentality. Is I'm a very high risk taker. And I was going to get in big time trouble if my mother found out, first of all, that I was gambling, and second of all, that I would have to come up with another $13. But I never forgot that story, because it's really the imprint of who I am as an entrepreneur. I roll the dice. I am a high stakes player. I bet on me, and I've been doing this since I was 13 years old. So there you go.
That is a fantastic story, although, trying not to advocate here for childhood gambling
No.
or anything like that.
Don't do that, children. Don't do it.
But the idea of gambling on yourself and gambling on, and not necessarily, putting that faith in people. And when it's not necessarily a gamble, when you structure it in a way that you can minimize those risks.
Yes.
You can take small risks, you can test them, and then change your pathway if necessary, or change your hypothesis or what direction you're coming from. And so I've seen, as I've gotten more and more into an understanding of an entrepreneurial mindset and of entrepreneurial learning, that there are methods to be able to test and minimize that risk. It's where entrepreneurship is not just throwing the dice and gambling,
Yes.
but you're actually placing very calculated risks and being able to test them on an ongoing basis so that the big risk, is actually minimized.
Absolutely. And I mean, to your point, it's betting on you. In that card game, I literally was betting on me and understanding my talents, my abilities, but also I'd already thought through, okay, so I get this amount of money every week. Well, by next Wednesday, I will be able to get her money. So it wasn't like I was betting my house. I mean, and although there's nothing wrong with that, I have known lots of friends who have literally mortgaged their homes and done all kinds of things that most people would think are crazy, and that it paid off, because in the end, I bet on me. And I believe in my abilities. And I think that is the most important quality of an entrepreneur is understanding, yes, I know what's at stake. I've kind of paid attention to that. I have a checklist of all I could lose, but look at all that I can gain when I take this leap and when I bet. If it's money, we can replace money. Honestly, if it's a house, we can replace a house. If it's a car, we can replace a car. But you won't get back those years that you lost, in a sense, if you never take any risks, if you never go for anything. And that's the thing that's always consistent in my message is go for it. If you have to go for it on a part-time basis, go for it until you feel more comfortable going for it on a full-time basis. That's
just certainly good advice. And I'm curious to know your early thought processes around, do you work with, or have you had any true mentors that have helped you through your career or in different points in your career, and how you found those mentors or sought out their help?
Absolutely. I mean, even when there was no team around me, I've always had great mentors, and I've always sat at the feet and around the fire of people who were, first of all, amazing people, because that's always been the most important thing for me. Just being able to absorb the wisdom of good people. And then fortunately, on top of that, they were great at whatever they did, whether it was community service or philanthropy or business. Some of my early mentors were very accomplished folks who were like chairmen of the boards of Dell Computers, and just people that I didn't realize that the value that they were bringing me at 24, 25, I would still be tapping into those things at 45 and beyond. So for me, that's like number two. Like, you can get a great team, great, but if you can't get a great team, make sure you surround yourself with mentors who are going to tell you exactly what you need to know, not necessarily what you want to hear. And I've had those all my life. And two of them I can think about. One is in the business arena, a guy by the name of Lee Walker, who was there early when I started my company after I left Procter & Gamble, and just talking to someone and understanding how to access capital and how investors think was invaluable to me. So I thank Lee for that, and Jen, his wife, for that, because they were amazing at putting me at the table of other entrepreneurs, getting the opportunity to really get elevated business education when I was just in my mid-20s. And then the second mentor who's been there, I'm also a writer. So I wrote my first screenplay probably 20 years ago. And I remember being at the Austin Film Festival around the table with a guy by the name of Bill Broyles, who wrote Unfaithful and Apollo 12 and, just Apollo 13, one of those numbers. Remember one of those numbers Bill wrote. But I remember being at the table with him, and we were going around the table. It was like a little, laser coaching thing. And he's asking everyone, what are you working on? What are you writing? And so when he got to me, I was telling him I was writing a screenplay called Loose Balls. And he just became really intrigued. He said, you should be writing, that's your first script should be what you're doing, which is writing about what you know a lot about. So whether that's your life story, he goes, for you, that's a very intriguing basketball story. So you should write that. And it just really stuck with me, the thought of the things that are really near and dear to you, something can be done with them. Maybe they won't be a full-fledged business. Maybe they will be a side hustle. Maybe they will be a book or whatever. But I always remembered him saying, never forget the things that are natural for you. Never forget the things that are already intrinsically a part of your story, because that's where your gold is. And he was right.
That connects up to doing things that you're passionate about.
Yeah.
And letting that passion drive you and drive your interests and where you ultimately go from there.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. Do you have any, I've always found in terms of the mentoring capacity, so in science, going through my academic career, there are very structured systems for advising and mentoring. But as I, finished in terms of a postdoc, I started looking to certain people and thinking and not always having a defined mentor, but being able to see things that I admired and things that I wanted to be, like behaviors that I wanted to, were good examples to me. Picking those from different places and having a very diverse perspective and a diverse, group of them. Mm-hmm. And as scientists, we tend to kind of stick into our own fields sometimes. And I think that that's also part of why I've gotten involved in doing more innovation and entrepreneurship, getting out of that, because I do enjoy the collaborations that cross over disciplines and get you outside of that comfort zone. Right. Every once in a while. And while, there's your home, group of things that you're really good at and where your passion is driving you, exposing yourself to some new ideas and new things that you wouldn't necessarily have thought of initially or thought you would be good at initially.
Right. Yeah. Well, I think it was great about this event that we're on right now. in addition to that is bringing in the total wellness of the entrepreneur. Because as you know, when you're running a company, when you're an entrepreneur and you're so focused on P&L statements and, business models and KPIs and all those other acronyms that we use on a daily basis, you forget about the whole person. Sometimes you forget that your mental health is the most important thing. It's right up there with your physical health. And I know a lot of entrepreneurs who are great at business, but have forgotten that their body, soul, and spirit needs attention as well. And what I love most about this particular event that we're both a part of is that there's a focus on take care of your mental health. Children, I have had a lot of therapy, and trust me, it was a well worth the investment. I go walking every day because I know that if my head and my heart are not where they need to be, I'm not going to be a very good leader, and I'm not going to be a very good CEO. And so I say those things not as, kind of parenthetical, but more like that is very real. You will kill yourself with just working. You will kill yourself with only paying attention to what happens at the office. So live a little. In fact, my philosophy is to live a lot. Live a lot, watch Netflix, spend time with your friends and family. And, for someone I lost my mom very early. I learned that lesson very early. Like, tomorrow is truly not promised. So be great at business. I'm all about the greatness. Be great at business, be great at relationships as well. And definitely take care of yourself and be good to yourself.
That's excellent advice. Some that I think I sometimes need to take myself. Going for a walk, going for a run is one of my best stress relief tactics. Mm-hmm. My husband just the other day said, you need to go get your shoes and go for a run.
There you go.
Exactly. Well, this is wonderful. In terms of the family support, you mentioned your mother and how your dad and your brothers were all incredibly supportive of your entrepreneurial activities. Can you talk a little bit about the need for that support system and how those personal relationships really factor into success as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, I'm very fortunate that I was born into a great family. We're not a perfect family, but we're great when it comes to supporting each other. So I have 3 brothers. One of them has passed away, and a sister, and my dad is still alive. And everybody, the excitement that we have for each other, whatever we're doing is truly phenomenal. And I feel really grateful to be able to do that. We have weekly calls and sometimes bi-weekly calls, depending on, how tired we are of each other, but where we just check in with each other. What are you working on? What are you doing? I don't know a lot of families that do that. And we do that because we're intentional about the love that we have for each other. We're intentional about supporting each other. So that's been great. But I also want to say, if you don't have that as a family, you make your family. Trust me, if my family sucked, I would go and make my family with my friends, with people that I do business with, because I kind of have those relationships already with the people that I do business with. And I believe that is truly important, that you go and make your own family and get that support and give that support, because that's the fuel that I need for all the things that I want to accomplish before I shot my last jump shot. I need the support of the people around me. And I believe that they need the energy that I give them to keep going. I send texts to my families all the time, just keep going. Like, I don't know what's going on in your life, but keep going and reach out if you need help. And so hopefully you all have those kinds of relationships with the folks in your life as well.
That is an important thing to recognize, the give and take, and the 2 multiple pathways of exchange there. You need support, but you also give support in many different ways, and recognize when somebody is reaching out and help, giving you support. I think sometimes we can get lost a bit in our own bubble or world and not even recognize when somebody is knocking on the door that's saying, hey, I'm here to help, or I'd like to get involved, and be able to take some of these things off your plate, those types of things. Well, this has been incredible. It has been wonderful to talk with you. You have an amazing experience, background. I know there's still only wonderful things to come from you. This will not be the last. The sports drink, when is it launching?
Yeah, it's ready. It's drinkable.
It's ready. It's there.
Yeah, you can get it at idrinkelectra.com. but it's ready. It's it truly is delicious. I feel like a parent who has children. Like she really can talk. She really can walk. But no, it's amazing to just be in this space. But more importantly, so many folks, Shannon said, why would you go into the behemoths are going to kill you? Why would you go into a category where there's such established players? And I'm like, remember when there was only Coke and Pepsi? And then I just leave the conversation. Now, the soda aisle is ridiculous, and every category needs innovation. So I just want to stand and hold my flag and say, whatever you're thinking about doing, do your research, but do it anyway. Just the joy that you'll get from stepping out and believing in yourself is going to be amazing. And I wish you nothing but the best.
Thank you so much. That's a wonderful last piece of advice. It was wonderful to talk to you. And I think we are pulling Ted back on.
Thank you, Dr. Shannon and Ms. Harris. Wow, two powerhouse ladies to learn from. And then what they say, success breeds success, and you can tell that in her enthusiasm and one of the key traits to be successful. At this time, Dr. Weigum will be joined by three local leaders. Corinna Boston Pinellas, founder and co-owner of Splash Coworking. Dr. Stephen Frazier, executive director of Star Park, which refers to the science, technology, and advanced research Star Park, the area's innovation technology incubator facility, and Jason Gouletti, president of the Greater San Marcos Partnership, the region's economic development organization. For your information, Splash Coworking is a Central Texas shared workspace, community and business pollinator where entrepreneurs, independent professionals, and creatives connect, support each other, and make business happen. Let's let these experts each share their perspective on this region as an environment for entrepreneurs, starting with Ms. Corinna.
Hi, Ted. Thank you so much. Can I get a thumbs up? How's my audio? Is it good?
Awesome.
All right. I think Claudia of the Dunbar Heritage Association might be joining us as well. But I want to say thank you to everyone. A lot of the faces you see here pulled this together as the first annual time that Splash was able to do Global Entrepreneurship Week. The fireside chat, Shannon, that you just had with Fran really spoke to the importance of community. And that is really the driving core of Splash Coworking, is connecting community with those who need to get their work out into the world. So thank you. I'm glad to be here with everyone.
I think if each of us were to go around and say a little bit about what we do, where we do it, and how we do it. So I guess we'll start next with Claudette.
Yes. Hi, I'm Claudette Blythe. I go by Claudia. You'll see that under my face there. Let me just say hello to everybody. I'm hoping everybody's Monday is off to a tremendous start. Mine certainly is. I've loved everybody that's presented so far. Amazing show. I represent the Dunbar Heritage Association here in the San Marcos area. We're a local community organization, and our mission is centered around bringing awareness and promoting minority, I'm sorry, you might hear my son in the background, but promoting minority activists and holidays and different things surrounding minority culture for the African American community here in San Marcos, Texas. So we do things like the Martin Luther King Jr. March in January. We also promote Black History Month in February, and then also the Juneteenth that comes up, of course, in June. And now we're doing something that's different and innovative and bringing to San Marcos the Central Texas Black Business Expo.
Thank you. And next, how about Jason?
Sure, and good morning, everyone. And again, thank you for having me join the conversation today. We are the Greater San Marcos Partnership. We are a two-county economic development organization. We're a public-private partnership founded on the whole premise of doing more together only makes us stronger. And what we do is in economic development, we go out and bring jobs and investment to our region. We do that through a variety of different ways, attracting companies to look at this part of Central Texas as an ideal location for their business. We also work with those existing businesses on the ground here, making sure they have the resources needed to grow and expand their business. And then I always call us the ultimate connectors. We need to be in with everybody, knowing the great resources like Splash, Texas State University, certainly. And Claudette, great to meet you. Look forward to working with you as well. And all the great resources that exist to make our community the great place that it is. So that's what we do. That's who we are. Certainly, we're excited about this. We call our region the Innovation Corridor because of all the amazing things happening in our part of Central Texas. And embracing that is all aspects of innovation. And we're excited to be here and share some of that with everyone today. So thank you again for having us.
Thanks, Jason. And next we have Dr. Frazier.
Well, it's not doctor. I'm one of those folks. I love academic terminology. I have a terminal master's. How's that? I'm Steve Frazier. I'm the executive director of Star Park. I really wear three hats that impact the innovation ecosystem in this region. I'm the executive director of Star Park, which is a 58-acre university research park located about 3 miles south of campus. At build out, it'll have about 700,000 square feet, a couple of thousand people working in developing unique or proprietary products, processes, and services in collaboration with the university. I'm also involved in an initiative called CEDAR, which is an acronym way too long to try and spell out here, but what it really is setting up a method for industry and research entities to collaborate with the university. We're beginning our first recruitment. We have a half a dozen members at this point, and our first tangible activities will be standing up a third building here in the park and creating our own separate research 5G network to provide a test bed for new software development and sensor development. Probably the most pertinent is we run the largest lab-based incubator in the state of Texas, Star One, 36,000 square feet. We focus primarily on those startup entities that are pre-revenue but have a product already identified and are in the process of prototyping, creating minimum viable product, or growing to the stage of pilot production. And because we're not doing software, we give those companies 3 to 5 years to get to a point where they actually launch and go into the marketplace. On the other end of the spectrum, we get engaged in pre-team formed groups. I love all of our terminology. They are, pre-revenue means I don't have any money. Ideation stage means I think I might know I want to do something, but I'm not sure. And we move with those folks to the ideation stage through new ventures to give them space, access to mentors, and access to some non-dilutive funding to make a decision to go to market with something that's unique in terms of product, process, or service.
Do we have any questions from viewers for our panel? I might throw this out there because this was taken into consideration what we've been talking about. And I wonder, when I think about entrepreneurs, they're trailblazers. But we all have a starting point or need a starting point or reference. So maybe if each of you, if you think about this, what would be some of the initial resources that an entrepreneur would start out with before they ventured out too far on that limb? And whomever would like to go first.
I'm happy to paint the big picture and then certainly connect the dots, because I think all of you guys are tremendous resources that they need to talk to, certainly. What I would suggest and advise really is to understand the market that you're in, right? And making sure that whatever it is you want to do is an actual service or product to the actual market. And how you do that is gaining intelligence about your area or your region or your scope of which you want to solicit that product or service. And that's where our organization provides that assistance. I think is trying to provide the data and support to help that idea sort of develop and get there, and ultimately provide you, as I mentioned earlier, to the connections you need to be successful. You're going to need a home to operate that business. And that's where I'm looking to Karina, right? That's a perfect location to come to say, let me get out of my house, right? And actually be in a location that can start providing me resources to grow. Quickly connecting to Steve at Texas State and leveraging the university resources that are there and the partnerships that they have. And I'm sure Claudette in that same angle has resources that her organization is part of that brings support to the table. So really what I just would advise is starting with the idea of understanding what you want to do and understanding the market that you're in, and look into organizations that can provide you assistance via research, via data, or just ultimately providing you a connection to another person that can then provide you some additional resources to help your idea move forward.
Awesome.
I would jump on that by saying less in terms of programs or physical structure. The greatest two issues I see in companies we work with, or prototype companies that we work with, one is a failure to understand you're entering business. In our case, because we're a technology or deep tech focused incubator, we get lots of folks who are in love with the technology and don't understand that if no one wants to buy it, it really doesn't matter. And the second is focus. A lot of entrepreneurs have ADD. The next bright shiny that shows up is something else they want to do, and they never quite get around to executing the core activity that should be the basis of a company.
I like to piggyback and jump in there and just say, I agree with everything that's been said thus far, but for me, and I do have a new startup as well, what I found the most helpful for me and where I think that most people need to start is definitely with research, but then also the networking. And that's why I really love the event that we're putting on today, this event, because it gives you the opportunity to really sit down and talk with other people, get inside their heads, meet people that are actually successful at their businesses, and really ask them those needed questions, like, and get very specific with the questions. Don't be afraid to ask, how much money did it really take to get this business off the ground? It's okay to ask that. Just blatantly ask so that you'll have an idea while you're doing that research of what it is going to take. But that networking piece, getting to know different people, and a lot of times what I found myself doing is having a conversation about my business, and then somebody else say, hey, I know this person that does this, and then you've just made this connection. Why don't you just reach out to them? And so just in the midst of just conversation and networking and meeting other people that are doing what you want, I feel like has been the most beneficial for me.
I think it's true that there's a big difference between socializing and networking. And so when you go to a function or an activity and those people are there, you need to take full advantage of the networking and not so much the socializing. Those are good points. Ms. Karina, would you care to expound upon any of that?
Yes, I think this really speaks true to our ecosystem in the Central Texas area. The insights that Stephen has presented and Jason and Claudia, both are all components and perspectives from each of us as independent actors within the ecosystem, but bringing something unique that the entrepreneur needs. An ecosystem is just that. When you think of the biosphere of how things grow and thrive and reproduce, it's very similar in the entrepreneurial landscape. And with Splash Coworking, we're kind of that nexus, providing access to programs and resources and business advocacy, but then again, also making sure we collaborate and do events like this to where networking is producing a safe space to be vulnerable and ask those questions and connect with mentors, and then being able to level up and work with Greater San Marcos Partnership and really understand what it is that's out there that they've already done, that takes the load off of the entrepreneur to learn and understand the market and our specific unique region here in Texas. And Steve, all of the different programs from the Innovation Series to the networking events that Star Park hosts, it really gives that approachable deep dive into those that are trying to think about, what they're doing and connecting with companies that are in that teenager state. I love that we use this terminology in such a family unit, and a production unit. I like how Fran spoke about her energy drink, because it does feel like you're giving birth to something. I don't have children, but I really feel like Splash is my baby. And you think you do all the selfies with your baby and you want to show it to everyone, but at the same time, you want them to have friends. So we love connecting with Star Park and with GSMP and also the Dunbar Heritage Association. What's unique and valuable about the organization that Claudia works with is it brings to life the cultural difference of the San Marcos area, and it gives a different platform for accessing networking opportunities. So we might be celebrating Juneteenth, but all of those vendors that are out there are doing something and bringing something to the community. The Black Business Expo that's going to carry us out for the Entrepreneurial Week this Saturday is going to highlight some of those special and unique companies and businesses that make us special to Texas and differentiates what we can bring forward.
And I think we're really fortunate with this area that we do have all these resources available. And I think it's important that as an entrepreneur, you're a trailblazer, you're a trendsetter, you're going to jump out there. But before you do that, know what your strengths and weaknesses are and know what the resources available to you. As Claudette mentioned, why reinvent the wheel? If somebody else has done that or participated in that or has a better idea, why not glean that information from them? And I would be curious too. I would think that there's a fair amount of people that are really in that starter's block and wants to jump out with their own business, their own ideas, but they're second guessing themselves. What would you guys say to that individual that says, hey, I think I want to do this, but they're really second guessing what they should do or if they should do it at all?
I think the key for anyone to be successful is passion and drive and focus. Folks that I have worked with over the years, and I've worked with about 50 startups at this point, the ones that are successful are willing to commit all of their resources. They're all in. The folks who are second guessing or holding back typically don't make it. And it's an endurance contest, and it's not for the faint of heart. And invariably, the ones I talk to at the other end of the spectrum who have graduated and are successful all say, I might not have done this if I'd known what I was getting into, but this is great. This is the best lifestyle that I could ever want, and I'm making a difference. And I think that's the key, that drive and the desire to make a difference.
So I think just following up on Steve's comments, it's not just the passion, but it's the willingness to partner with other experts, right? It's having that passion is principle, certainly, but if you're not willing to take the advice from others that have been there and can be the resource to help guide your ship, guess what? You could be the greatest person in the world, but hold on to that baby too tight, because I love that analogy that Karina said. And if you don't share it with the world or become friends, guess what happens? That person will not be successful and not grow up to be what you want it to be. So it's embracing that with that passion, knowing that your way, as great as it may seem, may not always be the best way. Others will give you that guidance, but I think somehow walking that fine line is something that I would strongly suggest to those that are going all in on a new idea or venture.
I would add to that, being able to collaborate and know that you're not going to be the best at everything, but there's someone else that's out there, and that's going to be the best way to move forward as efficient and as strategic as possible. And I'll let Claudia kind of carry us out, but I want to make sure that we take a group picture, COVID style. I'll take a screenshot of everyone when she wraps up.
All right, awesome. My advice would be to take the advice of the Nike commercial. Just do it. I mean, you have to just, at some point in time, just jump in the water and do everything. You're not going to be no elegant swimmer at first, but just jump in there and figure it out. You will either sink or swim. Hopefully, you will swim, and we'll all be rooting for you.
I love that splash reference, Claudia. Thank you. Because either way, we're going to make a ripple.
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
Well, can I get a countdown and we'll take a picture?
Sure.
All right, ready? On 3, we'll all smile. 1, 2, 3. Yay. Good job, everyone. Thank you so much.
I'd like to acknowledge the planners and sponsoring partners for the San Marcos Global Entrepreneurship Week program. Chairing the effort is Ms. Karina Boston Pinellas of Splash Coworking, Claudette Blythe, founder of Modern Tribes Events and chair with the Dunbar Heritage Association, Sean Ball, founder of SemPurse, new venture entrepreneur and the residents of Texas State University Star Park, the Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship at Texas State University, and Barbara Thompson, director of the Workforce Development, Business Retention Expansion at the Greater San Marcos Partnership, the regional economic development organization for Hays and Caldwell counties. Haven't they pulled together a great lineup of speakers? We have a unique way to allow you to interact and create connections we call chat roulette. It is a way that we pair up attendees, then scramble you up again so that you can get to meet as many people virtually as possible in the allotted time. We will scramble for about 15 minutes, then transition to vendor booths, which in a virtual platform is not to be missed. Ready, set, go. Welcome back, everyone. Hopefully you had a chance to scramble through the chat roulette for some good information and some networking opportunities. And I would freely encourage you to visit our vendor and entrepreneur booths for good information and virtual giveaways. They will remain open until at least 12 noon. We have a scavenger hunt all week, and one of today's requirements is that you introduce yourself in the chat. Do this before we log off to qualify for prizes at week's end. Note that we are promoting this week's Black Business Expo, that is a virtual event, on this same link Thursday and Friday, 12 to 2 p.m., and Saturday as a hybrid event at the LBJ Library, 10 to 2. I'm going to sign off and let you interact at your own pace. Please be sure to log in with us tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. if you want a yoga warm-up, and then at 10 Central Time, we'll get body fit and explore physical wellness. Many thanks to our sponsors and valued participants and speakers. Have a good day.